up here, I was going before, there's all these little tabs, right? And we want to go find the one called Custom tab here, all right? And up here this is where we can actually place scripts, and this is where we're going to place my launcher script. This is actually my launcher script right here. It has a little dragon on it. And that's where we're going to launch the script from, okay? But we're going to have to do a little bit of setup first to get there. And so what we want to do is make sure inside the script editor that you're inside a Python module, okay? Make sure it's an empty Python module. So, and if you need to make a new one, just go plus and go Python to make that module. Once you get that Python there, let's go up to the very top of the script editor and go File and go Load Script, okay? And of course, it's going to put the load requester on my other computer. So I'll go over there and grab it and bring them over here. All right, so here's a browser. And so once, and you will need to find that. So it's once computer on mine, it's computer on the C desktop program files, Autodesk, Maya 2017, and I move over to Python. And the one I want is I want the one called the launcher. Here it is, Servo Launcher 01. Well, I can't believe I went by it like 20 times. So there it is, Servo Launcher 01, and then we'll hit it open. And what you'll see is something that looks like this. Now inside a Python window in the control inside this script editor, if I hold my control key down and I start scrolling with my mouse wheel, I can actually size the script in here so you can see how long it is and stuff. But what we want to do is I'm just going to hit my key over here on the outside here to make sure that the script editor is still selected. And I'm going to do Control A to select everything on here, okay? And then I'm going to hold my middle mouse button down on this, and I'm going to drag it up to this window, all right? And I'm going to let go. And that's going to put my script up on the custom shelf. And you only need to do this one time, okay? Because it'll live there forever now. So now it's there, all right? So once again, I'll go over this real quickly. I'm going to select on the side. I'm going to hit Control A to select the whole script. And then with my holding down my middle mouse button, I'm going to drag it up here and put it on the shelf, okay? And there it is. And you notice it doesn't have the icon yet. So we still have to go add this icon to it. So if you got that far, congratulations. That's awesome. So now what we need to do is we need to set this icon for this script so that it looks like this little dragon icon. You don't need to, but it's kind of a handy little identifier, and we'll do it. So to do that, we need to go over to this little cog here, and that's going to open up our tools for this window here. Okay, so I'll open up that. I'm going to go Shelf Editor, which is the second one down, and then I'm going to go over to my other monitor and drag the Shelf Editor over. And here's the Shelf Editor. And what you'll see is make sure you're under the custom window editor, which is the custom windows that we're under, which is here. And then we're going to need to find the command for that. And shelf contents, command shelves, where did it go? It's supposed to be right here. Is it down below? Did it get too big? Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Once again, my Maya session is acting wonky on me. Okay. There we go. Shelves, pop-up menu items. All right. So it's still acting kind of weird. All right. All right. Sorry, my Maya session went a little haywire for a second. All right, so I'm on custom. I want to go to this second one that says this script is for launching Anim Servo, okay? And and you can see that it already has an icon because
now where was that?
So let me start this back up again to see, because there was a little bit of a little moment there. All right, so here's my shelf editor. Here's I'm on custom shelf, and I dragged it up here so it gives me this little default icon. I can grab. I'm going to go click on my little cogwheel here and go shelf editor, and that'll bring up the shelves. And make sure you're in custom, which you should be. Custom is the window that we're in, and go all the way to the bottom. Hopefully, that's still loading again, but there we go. The very bottom. So this script is for launching anim servo, connect and servo. All right. So this is the script we want. You notice I have the script in here a couple times. That's why it shows up several times. So this script is for launching anim servo, the anim servo connect and then servo, and it goes on and on. Right. So make sure that's selected. So custom. This script is for launching anim servo selected, and then now we can go browse for that little icon. Okay, so I'll hit the little browser window, and I'll hit, and where I had it this time, I'm going to go to my computer, C, program files, Autodesk, Mental Ray 2017, into the Python. And it goes servo launcher shelf button, which looks really funky, really big, and go open. And now we can go save, and that'll land in there. You should have something that looks like our little shelf button now, where it was. And then just go to the bottom of our shelf editor. Let me make this smaller so you can see it. Maybe you can't. Can you guys see the save all shelves button? Okay, looks like you can. All right, so just save all shelves, and it'll close. And now we're good to go.
All right. If you've correctly installed it, you should see that happen.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what you should see. All right. So the first section, these are virtual servos, and I'll talk about them more because it's a little more involved. And the second section are the actual virtual servos. And so if we actually make these actually create little representations of servos. So we can create up to 24 of these servos. So if I just go select the first virtual one, I go one servo and select that. And then I hit create virtual servo. Then it brings up this little interface for me, okay? So the first thing I need to do is create the connector for it, okay? And that's just this up here. So watch what happens in the outliner. When I create this virtual servo connector, it'll go like that. And you'll notice that it creates this little thing in the outliner. And here it is, and this is the connector. And you don't have to do anything with this, although it's good to know where it is because later on in the course we can actually go in and alter the values of some of these. So it'll create one of these for every single servo we make. So this is the actual connector that actually speaks to Maya that we record to. All right, so first we connect that, we make that, and then we actually create the virtual servo. And then this one's for creating one virtual servo. So I'll hit the button, and there we go. And as you can see, there's a little tiny representation of a servo in here, okay? And I can grab the whole servo by the servo housing itself and move it around. And I can rotate it and the whole thing. And then I can grab the servo horn itself. And the servo horn is only allowed to rotate on one axis, okay? So you can grab it and you can rotate it. And that is the, so you can actually use it just like a regular servo. And here it's the representation of one. And that's kind of how they work. So you can make up to 24 of these, right? And what we'll do is, remember back when I was talking to you about the big numbers that we were seeing inside the Polulu controller software, and then we are multiplying those numbers times 4. So these are the numbers that we want to select here. So let's say that this is the say we wanted to set the servo as its far corner over here, right? And let's say that's the servo is set to its far left or whatever, right? And the real life servo on its far left, let's say that its low number reads 2000. So we would enter 2000 into its servo here, and then we would hit the enter on the numeric keypad, okay? So it highlights it blue like that. It may change a little bit on 2017, it'll make it look red instead of blue, but that's okay. And then all we do is we hit set servo, okay? So that's setting the servo's first line, all right, for its first position, and then we move it to its other extreme range to wherever, like, let's say that like this was a servo moving an eye to its extreme left, okay? And we can move it over here and say, this is the servo's position for the eye's extreme right. And we know that because of that software, we wrote that down, that it was multiplying it times 4, so that this number is going to be 8,000. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But we're just literally just taking the numbers from the controller and plugging them in here. Then I hit set servo again, and now this servo is set. So if I move this servo around, and if it's hooked up correctly, you should see these numbers update in the servo, okay? So here they are. They're moving around, and it looks good. It looks like they're all updating correctly, and that makes me happy. And so we can actually set keys on this servo. So if I go to like frame 1, you notice in its channel box that all of its channels are gray